Hey everybody, welcome to the Northwest Weather Podcast. This, my friends, is episode 4.
We're on the 4.
Aren't we?
That's amazing.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
I'm here with meteorologist Abby Acone.
Hi.
Abby. And our traffic guru, Mr. Adam Gerke. Weather and Traffic Clyde, obviously, so that's why we have Adam here.
Yes.
Every single podcast. We love it. We love your insight as well.
Fervent study
You know what I did?
of earth science, too, by the way.
You brought
Love
up,
that.
by the way, last week about how when the power goes out, you put a little
Yes.
penny on top of
That was so
frozen.
helpful.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. So it's a bowl of water that
You
freezes,
freeze.
and then you put a penny on the top, and then if your power goes out. And the penny will then be encapsulated in ice or drop to the
all
bottom.
Yeah.
And we did that in my house. So now, thank you, Adam.
Yay.
A little fun,
Yeah.
fun tip. I
Yeah.
love it. I love it. Well, we're going to be talking today about the coming week. In fact, we're going to be talking about the coming weeks. We're going to look a little farther into the forecast here through March.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking about a little earthquake we had, which was interesting and a good shaker for some of us. And then we have our City of the Week, which Abby will be doing here today. Very
Yes.
excited about that. So let's get started with our local headlines. And we're going to start with that earthquake, okay? A 4.5 magnitude earthquake hit up in the San Juan Islands. This was at 5 o'clock in the morning. This was just yesterday,
Yep.
Yeah.
right? Yesterday.
5:02.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right during the morning show. You guys didn't feel anything here,
Not a
right?
thing.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, nothing here, but a lot of folks around the region felt it. This was felt as far south as Kent. I even heard that there were some reports of people feeling it as far south as Portland, which is
Wow,
interesting.
bonkers.
There were thousands of people that called in and sent in reports that they felt it up around, especially around the San Juan Islands, up in the North Sound as well. This was 10 miles deep, but a decent sized earthquake at magnitude 4.5.
It had been several years since we've seen a magnitude of this size, and we love Harold Tobin around here.
Yeah.
He's the director of the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. He joined us yesterday. He was talking about how it's been several years, and that's at the cusp to expect minor damage. So maybe there could be some chimneys that are cracked. You were
Right.
saying in the San Juans, but other than that, you might not notice a lot of damage, but definitely noticeable shaking.
This was the largest since 2019. Okay, and actually this was the first time, because it met the threshold, the My Shake app, which actually really encourage you to download. This is the first time that was implemented, and it was only in a certain area. So if you're in the North Sound, you might have gotten an alert there. It's a really good app to download though, because it actually can give you seconds or even minutes of warning,
Unreal.
which is very helpful, especially if you're out along
If
the
I'm not
coast, for
mistaken,
instance.
too, the state ferries deployed early from one of the docks as well, with the mindset that there could be a tsunami. So they pushed out to sea quickly to get the boat out in the water rather than be on the docks and getting thrashed around as well.
Isn't that fascinating?
And the lime kiln hydrophone, which is an underwater microphone that's used for monitoring whales, actually managed to capture the rumble.
Really?
And I was
Wow.
able to listen to it. Somebody had posted it yesterday. I was able to listen to this. Kind of this little.
Really? That is so cool.
Oh my
But
goodness.
the actual folks at Lime Kiln, because it's on display live, somebody was watching it live and happened to hear this and happened to capture that. The folks at Lime Kiln were going to try and turn that audio around and see if they could get it out today or yesterday. But I don't know if they've been able to find it since then. But it was audible.
That's
So,
over on the San Juans, right?
on the San
Friday
Juans,
Harbor?
the Lime Kiln hydrophone.
Okay.
Normally you can hear whales talking and things like that.
Tell you what, if we get that for next week's episode, we'll play that for you.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
It's kind of underwhelming when you actually hear it, but it's cool when you
well, when you
like-
know what it is,
Yeah,
right? It's very, very cool. When we talk about earthquakes, of course, we think about, is this a precursor to the big one, right? Is the big one imminent? And we always talk about that the big Cascadia subduction zone that we have off the coastline. Of course, we're meteorologists, not geologists here, but since we're the resident scientists in this building, we can talk about it. This is not along the same fault line as where the big one will hit eventually. So
That's right. There are a lot of it's a tectonically active area in that there are lots of different types of faults in the San Juans that are all crisscrossed, but not associated with the big one, and it doesn't necessarily increase our risk
No.
for the big ones. So
that's
that's
good.
an important note for everybody.
But we need to be prepared. You know, a lot of Seattle buildings have retrofitted. We got the tunnel, right, instead of the viaduct, which was just a disaster waiting to happen there
right.
in an earthquake. So the tunnel, that's ready for an earthquake. Supposedly,
We
hopefully. But there is still over 1,000 building structures susceptible to earthquake damage in Seattle alone, including schools and apartments and big office buildings as well.
To seismically retrofit a building is insanely almost cost prohibitive to do it.
Yeah.
And that's part of the issue. A lot of the homes that we live in are box structures or balloon structures, as they call them. So they move and wiggle, and they can handle that. But like your point, Abby, it's the chimneys that we have to worry about the most. And also, of course, glass. Yeah. That's another big one.
Good point.
So getting away from windows when that big shake happens.
And I always think about the liquefaction too. When you're driving down I-5 and you see all these hillsides next to you, a lot of that is going to come down onto the roadway. So there's going to be a lot of travel issues, right? When we have a big earthquake around here, it might take a while to be able to get home or get to some place of safety. So coming up with a good game plan on where to meet your family, is very, very important. And I always heard that having somebody to contact that doesn't live here in the Pacific Northwest is really good too. So you could say, let's say you have an uncle on the East Coast. That can be your point of contact for your whole family. If you can get a hold of them, say, hey, I'm okay, here's where I am, then that's somebody away from this area, as long as phones are working, that you can get in touch with to make sure everybody's okay.
Such good reminders.
And it is scary stuff, right? It always is, but it's good to think about, good to be prepared. All right, let's talk about our week forecast here coming up. Nothing super eventful coming our way, which is nice. We got some normal rain showers. We got some sunny days ahead as well. And then as we get into early next week, Abby, you were working on the forecast this morning. We could see a little bit of snow up in the mountains.
Yeah, that's right. As a skier, I'm eyes to the skies on this one for you. So there could be like a couple of snowflakes today for Stevens and White Passes. Otherwise, we're going to be dry for several days. There might be another round of snow for the Cascades late Sunday or Monday. Not a slam dunk quite yet, but it's going to be daily rounds next work week when we could see some nice fresh snow for the mountains. Like literally almost every single day next week is looking a bit snowy.
We showed you this a little bit earlier as we kind of look ahead at March in Seattle and kind of what to expect. But the temps don't warm up all that much in the month of March. They're just slowly creeping up on average. And actually, we average more rain in March than we do in February, which is interesting. Mountain snow continues. Lowland snow, though, is less likely, so that's good.
Hey.
I'm kind of done with that anyway at this point.
I'm over it.
But what do things look like beyond the 7-day forecast? And as we get into the next couple of weeks, we were looking at this a little bit earlier.
I just really wanted to dig into it and let people know, because we had a couple of days in the 60s. They were so wonderful, pure bliss. We absolutely loved it. But winter is not done with us quite yet.
No.
It's like the battle between the seasons.
That was
full spring. Yes.
Full spring, yes.
That's right.
Next week, literally, I looked at all the different spots. Mid to upper 40s for highs in Puget Sound. Next week, almost each and every day.
Yeah.
Overnight lows in the mid to upper 30s each and every day. Olympia, Shelton, Centralia, freezing mark potential next week.
So you can put the shorts back in the tub that goes at the top of your closet. You can put those back in the tub.
The crop tops, put those aside.
That's right. We're not getting all the spring stuff out quite yet, but it does look wetter. It does look cooler than average over the next couple of weeks, which will take us all the way through mid-March. Mid-March, if you can believe that. And let's take a look at this here. This highs in Puget Sound, as you were saying, upper 40s, lows in the upper 30s. And we'll be flirting with freezing there for the South Sound.
Daily shower chances next week, everybody. Daily. So get ready.
Okay, we're not done with it yet.
Not
I know,
done.
full spring. We'll probably get another couple full springs before all is said and done.
I hope so.
Let's get to our favorite segment, our City of the Week. Abby's turn. Yes, our City of the Week. You can play here at home. Here's how it works. Abby has picked a city here. In Western Washington, perhaps?
It's in Western Washington.
Okay, in Western Washington. And you can guess at home what it is based on her clues that she is going to give us. So, Abby, take it away.
Okay, we're going to go from semi-hard to easier over time, and we're going to see how many clues you each will need. Let's go. According to historylink.org, this city was home to the Semiahmoo, a small, peaceful, straight Salish tribe in the time before the first recorded explorers passed by in the late 1700s. Not quite.
Oh, okay.
Well, go ahead and say a couple of clues here.
Yes. Yeah. So the Semiahmoo, they shared the Bay's bounty with members of the nearby Lummi and Nooksack tribes.
Okay.
Clam digging is a thing along this fine sandy beach, and fishing as well, which might not really narrow it down. That's so many other spots.
Okay, is this city in Whatcom County?
The city is in Whatcom County. Population as of 2020, a little more than 10,000.
Is this Oak Harbor?
10,000.
Not Oak Harbor.
Okay, Whatcom County.
Not Anacortes, not Oak Harbor.
We got Bellingham up there in Whatcom County.
Could be.
Is it
Nia Bay?
No,
wait, that's
nope,
sorry, that's way off.
On the Salish Sea.
On the Salish Sea. Oh, Vancouver?
It is the fourth biggest city in Whatcom County.
Oh, we're still in Whatcom
the
County,
fourth
sorry.
biggest. Okay, let's see here. Now I got to think of all the cities that I know of in Whatcom County.
Okay, so we've got
that are
Bellingham.
on the water.
Right on the water too.
So Bellingham.
Bellingham is the biggest.
Linden.
Okay, yeah, Linden. There's Blaine up there. There's Ferndale, yes.
That's the third biggest.
Okay.
So this is going to be the fourth.
Okay, oh no.
A final clue for all of you. The name of this town came from a Spanish captain who noted a number of species of birch and gave the name to the bay.
Birch Bay.
Birch Bay!
Oh, God. I could not have been. Thank you for that very obvious clue. Yes.
I loved it.
Wow. Good one. Nicely done.
Digging deep into the Whatcom County.
You know what? There are so many other spots, right, along Puget Sound, on the Salish Sea. So my clues
was a good one
at the beginning, but that was fun.
By the way, if you've never played Semiahmoo Golf Course, that place is just awesome.
It's so beautiful.
It is so beautiful up there. Yeah. Adam, you also, before we go here, you had a big week because the Oscars were on Sunday.
They were.
And you wear so many hats. You're also our movie critic here at Fox 13. So what was that whole experience watching that like for you?
It was an interesting watch this year, specifically out of the fact that a lot of the big wins didn't happen with big studios. They happened with the smaller studios, like Neon Studios, which was the studio that put out the film Anora, which grossed next to nothing cinematically when it gets right down to like actual cinema dollars. Cost $6 million to make, only pulled in like $16 million, I think, in its run. So not a lot of folks in the general public saw it. Now it's garnering all this attention. So that's kind of exciting to see. It's not my favorite film by any stretch, but it got Best Picture, Best Director, Best Screenplay, and Mikey Madison, the lead actress, took that as well. And there was a fifth award that they received. I can't remember that one off the top of my head. But yeah, big week for Anora. And all the others that are now starting to garner attention and support because the spotlight was turned on them. So yeah, big deal.
It's kind of interesting, and I love seeing the little guy win too sometimes because you throw like tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars into a movie. Doesn't mean it's as good as some of these smaller ones. So.
The other one that was garnering a lot of attention was The Brutalist, which is put out by A24, another smaller studio. So, I mean, those were the two that I think a lot of folks were focusing on. I think the general public was really more curious about Wicked, because that's the one that most people were familiar with.
Right.
Wicked with its, I think, 10 basically Oscar nominations and only walked away with 2 of them, maybe 8 nominations.
Was that costume design?
Yeah, costume design and production design. Which totally deserving. So fun stuff.
Well, big week. It's so fun watching you like in your area of expertise, Adam. And Adam at the Movies, a segment every Friday.
I know we love Adam at the Movies. Yeah, we love.
Yeah, to quick recap, the film that I would suggest folks check out didn't get Best Actor, but should have. And I think didn't even get a nod for Best Picture, but should have, is called Sing Sing. It's available on streaming services now. It is, bar none, one of the most heart-wrenching and amazing films that I saw of the year. It didn't get the attention and love that it deserved. I think that's the one that people should focus their attention on. Sing Sing.
Good rec. Okay, you heard it here.
You heard it here. There you go. Adam, Happy, thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining us here on the Northwest Weather Podcast. We'll be back with you next week. Have a good one.
See ya.